Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for February 24th. February 24th is the 55th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, with 310 days remaining to the end of the year, or 311 in leap years. Today's word is Spoonerism. Spoonerism is a noun, and it means the transposition of usually the initial sounds of words, typically producing a humorous result. For example, it is now customary to cuss the bride. Or, is the bean dizzy, when he was trying to see if the dean was in. I've done some Spoonerisms. This term is named after Archibald Spooner, who lived from 1844 to 1930. He was a clergyman and educator who was prone to this. Earliest documented use of this term is 1900. I'd like to take a moment to remind you that links to my research are included in the show notes, and ask you to go ahead and click that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Be sure and stay tuned for the outtakes. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Remember that you can share this video with others either through your email or social media. And with that, let's start in the year 1582, when Pope Gregory XIII announced the Gregorian calendar with the papal bull. And we've talked about Gregorian calendars before, and I certainly mention it every day. But what is a papal bull? A papal bull is a type of public decree, letters patent, or announcement issued by a pope of the Catholic Church. And why do they call it a bull? It's named after the seal, or bulla, used to authenticate it, as in this photo. Anyway, yes, Pope Gregory XIII announced the Gregorian calendar with a papal bull on February 24th, 1582. And on a side note, I often use the dictation capability of my smart devices to help me write these entries, and it's been quite amusing, if somewhat annoying, that it kept trying to say paper bowl every time I dictated the words papal bull. Obviously, Siri's not a Catholic. And then I got to thinking about how funny it would be if the Pope actually did issue paper bowls. Moving on, this is the birthday of American painter and illustrator Winslow Homer, who was born on February 24th, 1836. He lived to the age of 74. On February 24th, 1863, Arizona was organized as a United States territory. On this day in 1868, President Andrew Johnson became the first president of the United States to be impeached by the United States House of Representatives. Interestingly, the reason for this was that he fired someone with whom he apparently found it impossible to work, and they didn't think that he should be able to do that. He was later acquitted in the Senate, though. This is the birthday of American baseball player, coach, and manager Honus Wagner, born on February 24th, 1874. Known as the Flying Dutchman, he was one of the first 5 members inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. He lived to the age of 81. This is the birthday of American actor Abe Vigoda, perhaps best known for his portrayals of Salvatore Tessio in the movie The Godfather, and also of the police officer named Fish on the TV series Barney Miller. Mr. Vigoda was born on February 24th, 1921, and lived to the age of 94. On February 24th, 1946, Juan Perón was elected President of Argentina. This is the birthday of American singer, songwriter, and guitarist George Bad to the Bone Thorogood. He was born February 24th, 1950. Still alive as I read this in the year 2020, he turns 70 today. Also the birthday of American businessman and co-founder of Apple Incorporated and Pixar, Steve Jobs, was born February 24th, 1955. Sadly, he passed away in 2011 at the age of 56. And the birthday of American comedian and actor Mitch Hedberg, born February 24th, 1968. You could call his work observational comedy, wordplay, deadpan. However you want to describe it, I think he's a pretty funny guy. I've placed a link to one of his performances in the show notes. I'm sorry to report that he passed away in 2005 at the age of 37. The current Constitution of Cuba was formally proclaimed on February 24th, 1976. On February 24th, 1978, a group of 5 men who came to be known as the Yuba County Five disappeared in California. 4 of their bodies were found 4 months later. No trace has ever been found of the 5th man. These 5 men were friends and ranged in age from their mid-20s to early 30s, and they all either had mild mental or psychiatric issues, which may have impaired their ability to survive. On February 24th, 1988, the Supreme Court defended the right to satirize public figures. And I think that's going to do it for us today. As always, links to my research are included in the show notes. Thank you so much for watching. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share, which you can do with a link in an email or through your social media. While you're on the internet, check out my other channel, 8 Susquehanna. There's a link to that in the show notes as well. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. All right, just read that over. I'll have to go take a look at that again. So many mistakes. We're not going to go into all that. Okay. This is what happens when we go off script. I don't know how all that's going to go together, or if it's even going to make it to the video. We'll just see. That's not going to go. Probably cut all that out. That'll all be laying on the cutting room floor. So I'll just do that whole thing over. That might not make it into the video. We'll see. Changing it up.